little toast. Hello, the No BS Bevy Bunch. Welcome to the Thirsty Professional, where today we are welcoming Blue Zone's lifestyle coach, Luca Giorgiantonio. Go grab your bevy. We'll be back in a New York minute.
Welcome to the space where truth is poured. No corporate scripts, just tales explored. From passion quest to purpose found, the thirsty professional breaks new ground. So fill your cup, let's have a chat about careers, life, and all of that.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Thirsty Professional. This is a place where we grab a bevy, ditch the BS, and we get real about careers, purpose, and passion. I am your host, Beth Ann Campbell, former corporate queen, now full-time author and podcaster. Always got to put the book up. If you're watching live out there, please let us know that you are here in the comments, where you're from, and most importantly, what are you drinking? If you're watching the replay, give us a hashtag replay. And of course, let us know if you have any questions, feedback, comments, so we can address it during the live stream or after if you're watching the replay. Today, my very, very special guest on the Thirsty Professional is Luca Giorgiantonio. If you don't know Luca, what rock have you been living under? Seriously, he's a firecracker. When I first talked with Luca 5 months ago, he was still trying to figure out what he wanted to do as an entrepreneur. Fast forward, now he is a Blue Zones lifestyle coach. I love this. I am such a big fan of the Blue Zones book by Dan Buettner. I cannot wait to talk to Luca about his Blue Zones experience and how he's helping people live longer, eat better, and connect more deeply. Please welcome Luca Giorgiantonio. Luca, let me touch you off mute. Boom. Hello. Welcome.
Buongiorno,
Buongiorno.
everybody. Welcome in. This is so much fun already. Thank you for having me back.
I
I've been
love. Thank
looking
you for.
so forward to this.
Oh, me too. And for like 5 months. So
I love
yeah.
it.
So Luca, I always ask my guests, what are you drinking today? Do you have a bevy today?
Oh, I have my coffee with ashwagandha in it. One of the few
Oh, okay.
supplements I
And
take. Yeah.
is that a mushroom derivative kind of it? Well, no,
Yeah.
it's not. Is it?
No, it's not. I'm not even sure what ashwagandha is. That's
I've heard
Teresa
of
that
it.
does the supplement part of the of the thing.
I
So,
think
but we
sometimes.
start our day. We start our day with these couple of things. We do before we get to coffee. We do the a glass of water with water and salt and lemon, and then we do a cup of bone broth.
Oh
So
yeah,
that
I love bone broth. Yeah.
it's an acquired taste. At the beginning, you're like, "What the hell is this stuff?" Then you get used to it, and then it brought down my coffee intake from 5 cups a day to one.
Oh my
So
God.
that's yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, I think ashwagandha, somebody will probably tell me what it is. I think I often see it associated with the mushroom based that are very popular right now, at least in the States. But
Absolutely.
thank you so much for coming out so early in your morning. You're in Arizona right now.
I'm
And
in
it is,
Arizona, and I really, people who live in Arizona inspire me because how the hell do you live this? It's 120 degrees today. I don't know what people are.
well, maybe we'll have some Arizona people. I have some that will pop in here. We've already got a bunch of comments coming in,
I
Lucas.
love
So
it. Oh,
yeah.
I'm all here for the accent, Trisha. Love it.
Trisha says she might have just come out from under a rock because maybe she didn't know you.
That's all right.
Okay, so I have another a person who is listed as LinkedIn user for me. I don't know who you are. North Carolina Bevy Water. I'm so sorry. Sometimes Restream does this to me. It doesn't, or LinkedIn does this
Oh,
to me. So I don't know who. It just tells me LinkedIn user. So who is LinkedIn user? Who's from North Carolina? Welcome. Thank you. Trisha, great to meet you. Luca, Alan Lloyd, drinking water from under my rock. Trisha, as Lucas said, is only here for the accent. Well, you do have a great accent. I was just saying, I often wear my earbuds instead of using my speakers because it helps me to understand. But you actually don't have. I mean, you're very easy to understand as for me, an
thank
American. So
you. May I tell you a little story about my accent?
please.
So when I went to Milan and I did college, I'm from a town called Pescara, which is considered South. So in Milan, they were like, you're the guy from the South that talks funny. Then all of a sudden, I come to the US and I talk sexy. So let's
Oh,
just
true.
say I didn't make too much of an effort of changing my accent.
So do you have this because I don't speak Italian, I of course I don't recognize the differences, but do you have the same thing in Italy? I would assume like almost every country where you have different regions have
Oh
different
yeah,
accents then.
but
So,
it's also not only accents. We have like different dialects. I might go to a place in Italy, and if they speak strict dialect, I don't understand a thing.
wow,
Yeah,
really interesting. Yeah, a lot of countries do have that. Well, even in the States, sometimes you go to like deep Louisiana where they have a very Cajun, and
yeah.
maybe they're throwing in some French there too. Yeah. So, Luca, I'm so excited for you to be here. I really want to jump right in because you have a
Okay.
speed networking with Luca. If anybody is not familiar, look it up, or we'll put a link in the comments. But Luca has a speed networking call after this, so I want to be cognizant of time. So I want to
Uh-huh.
jump right in because I'm so excited to talk about this. The last time I talked with you, which was 5 months ago, right?
Uh-huh.
We're still trying to figure out what you wanted to be when you grew up. That was your words. You said you were still trying to figure it out. You were pursuing entrepreneurship. You were working in a restaurant. And I
Uh-huh.
said, I don't care. I love you. Come on the show. That's what the
Yeah.
show's about. It's not about you've been in business for 20 years. So I love it. But then I looked at your profile and you are now a Blue Zones lifestyle coach. So tell me, about a little bit about that. How did that come about? And then we'll talk
That
about what it is. What is
sure.
Blue Zones?
Well, that came about. So I've been in restaurant business all of my life. And about 3 years ago, I'm like, okay, I gotta get out of this because this is I'm done with this. But I chose
Is
the
it because the
wrong path.
tomatoes are so bad?
Exactly. But I chose the wrong path. I'm like, okay, now what am I gonna do after I worked in restaurants all time? Sure, let's find a job, commission only, that's gonna make me some residual. Wrong. I went into the wrong thing. I've been doing payment processing. So a lot of people want to pay me money, but I don't know if they want me to handle their payments. You know what I mean? But it's kind of been a struggle, and everything unfolded kind of naturally. We started. So since I moved to Phoenix 5 years ago, because I met the love of my life, my companion Teresa, who picked me up from a bar in Puerto Vallarta. That's a story for another podcast. But so used to live in San Diego at the time. I lived in San Diego for 17 years. She goes, well, I live in Phoenix. I didn't know much about Phoenix, but being a hairstylist, I said, okay, it makes more sense for me to move to Phoenix. So I moved to Phoenix, but that allowed me to basically spend a month every year in my home in Italy in the summertime,
Oh,
which
oh.
I was never able to do when I was living in San Diego. And so after the fifth year, Teresa this summer was like, why don't we move here? And so it kind of all started this whole thing. Okay, what do we do? And we're like, okay, my mom already cooks for so many people. Let's do cooking classes and my mom.
So
Let's
wait, let me just make sure that everybody understood. You're moving to back to Italy, right? That's where
Yes,
here was Italy in Pescara, Italy.
Pescara.
Pescara.
Pescara, Italy.
Pescara.
Well, I've been trying to get out of the US since 2019, but the
Me
universe
too.
had other plans.
Me too.
I
Since
actually moved back
since
to the
since the
US.
last election, I've been trying to
I
get
know.
out. But anyway,
So I moved back to Italy actually in October of 2019, and I was gonna bring Americans to personalized vacation in Abruzzo, in my region. Of course, 2 days before I launched the website, lockdown happened, and the
COVID
world
pivot. Every
COVID.
guest, every guest.
Hey, to me, it was great. I spent a lot of time with my friends and family back home. I actually got the lockdown in my house for 3 months. I got fat. If you see a picture
Oh,
of me post
I
COVID,
doubt it. I
oh
doubt
my
that.
God, I'll look it up. And so we were like, okay, we're gonna do cooking classes at my mom's. In the past year, we've already. I mean, I've been on a. I don't want to say a health journey, but I got pretty sick the first years that I moved in the US because I was still eating like an Italian, only not realizing that I was eating a lot of processed crap.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
so, fast
We're
forward
number one.
a few years later, and a surgery in Mexico. That story for another podcast. I actually went. My whole journey started by going sort of keto-ish, so by eliminating
Okay.
carbs and sugar from my diet eating, proteins and fat, and that made me feel better. And then I got into those movements, and so I started researching about this blue zone. I watched the documentary, obviously, and it's fascinating to me. And a lot of things about the blue zones are things that we don't have in here. In the United States, you all think about money. You all think about money,
We
but
do.
but we
Truth.
can enjoy money if your
Yeah.
body and soul are not. So that was the whole thing that led me to that. Plus,
I
my
love that.
mom, we're already like cooking for a lot of people. Why don't we get charged for it?
I know we were talking earlier before the show started, and Luca was telling me you were telling me that the United States tomatoes are a bit subpar to both Italy tomatoes, but the best ones you said are from Croatia,
Croatia. Oddly
which is
enough, if you come to my house in Italy and you get a tomato from the lady farmer that we get it every Tuesday and Thursday, she's over there selling tomato. You'll be like, oh my god, food will never be the
yeah.
same if I take you to my house in Italy,
Yeah.
for real.
I have no doubt. I used to live next door. I was a nanny in New Jersey for a while, and my next door neighbor was an Italian woman and her family, and she would and it was just different. It was just better. I'm
You
going to
know what?
say it was better
The
even with American
soil,
ingredients.
the
Yeah.
from the ground to your table, from the ground to your mouth, no pesticide, no transportation. If you didn't have right now you're available, they do something up north, you can get it in the south, but it's still
Yeah.
not the same thing as if you get it where it's made.
Well, and it doesn't have the love of Nona,
It
okay?
doesn't
So
have the love of nonna, and my dad used to say, don't stress the product. He used to say this line a lot. So if you get, a tomato and you pack it up and you ship it
yeah.
somewhere, it's stressed. It's not the
This is
same thing.
truth. Listen, I said the same thing the other day about strawberries because strawberries, I don't know if people know this, but they do not ripen. Some fruits and
Oh yeah,
vegetables will ripen. And so they do, especially if they're produced far away, they will pick them when they're a little less ripe. But strawberries don't get any riper.
they
Once you pick
don't.
them, that's it.
No,
So
that's it.
my strawberries were so sour. And I just remember once my brother brought me some Amish
Mm,
locally grown strawberries, and they were so sweet and beautiful. So it does
I
make a
love it.
difference.
Look at
So
this.
what was that when you
Post-COVID
is that
picture. I know.
where's your hair? You have no
Oh,
hair.
I sometimes I shave it off to get them stronger.
You are chilling there, Luca.
I was chilling. I This is a picture where I finally was able to make it back to San Diego after a few months because
Yeah.
in Italy it
So
was a complete total lockdown.
well, you have. I've talked to people about that too. Yeah, of course we here in the United States we had protocols, and some of us followed them, and some of us didn't. But I talked to a lot of people, especially in Europe, and your lockdown was wholly different than our
Well, we
lockdown.
got free health care. You can't flood the hospital, so you had to keep people at
Right,
home. I
right.
mean, simple as that.
So tell us, for anybody who doesn't know,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit what are the blue zones? What does that mean? What
Uh-huh.
does that
So,
term
so
refer
the
to?
blue zones were identified by this guy named Dan Buettner. I can even say his
Buettner.
name,
Yeah,
Buettner.
Buettner.
Thank you. That he was researching. The blue zones are basically zones of the world where people tend to live way longer than the average. And during his research, he identified 5 zones. One's in Japan, one's in Italy,
Okinawa.
of course, Okinawa.
Yes.
One's
Yeah.
in Italy, Sardinia. Then we
Yes.
got a Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica,
Costa Rica. Yeah.
the island of Icaria, Greece,
Yeah.
and believe it or not, Loma Linda,
I know
California.
some weird
It-
little cult town
it's
and
so weird. But they don't have centenarians there, but they have a population that lives roughly 7 or 10 years more
well,
than the average.
you have to have a little pocket of US Americans in there. Otherwise the US Americans reading the book will get all offended. So
Maybe,
but
maybe, but that's fascinating. Now it makes you want to go to Loma Linda. Because one
yeah,
thing that's really hard to do in America, two things. One is eating clean. Because I mean,
it is.
you go to Costco, you get a bucket of processed crap for two
For
dollars
nothing. Yeah.
for nothing. But I always tell people, I mean, do you want to spend $2 now? would you rather spend $10 now than 20 grand in the future because your
Yeah.
body's gonna
Well,
get clogged up?
we also eat the portion sizes here in the United States. I am guilty of that. And so if we would just think to ourselves, well, is it is it worth a home cooked meal if we maybe are just not having like a mound of, food, then
Exactly.
it
But
will
it's
go
not
longer.
not even your fault because they made it like that.
Well,
It
in the
was
processed foods, we know the processed foods. I don't want to
yeah.
get too much into
No, no.
medical advice or anything, but we
Oh
know
no.
that processed foods have a lot of added salt and a lot of added sugar, and that
Yeah.
does train our taste buds to want
Yeah.
more and more of it. So it's
But
all
to me,
calculated.
aside from the food, because coming to Italy, that wasn't the hard part for me to understand. The movement part. Because, like now I'm 45 years old. I honestly feel and look way better than I did in my 30s when I used to go to the gym at all times.
Yeah.
Now I literally make movements and I call them workouts that don't feel like workout. But, you don't have to bench press,
No.
300 pounds. Chances are, if you do that without being in tone with your body, you end up hurting yourself.
Yeah, I was just watching. There's a great, if anybody was ever a fan of the show The Biggest Loser, which had worldwide shows. There's now a documentary out on Netflix. I just watched it yesterday, and it's really good, talking about the extreme bad habits that they did with their
Oh, yeah.
food. But I love this about movement, because one of the things about the Blue Zone people is they are not going out to the gym and doing 2-hour workouts. They are just moving in ways that are very natural. They are sitting down, sitting on the floor, and getting back up multiple times per day, and walking to places. So, anybody who thinks, well, I can't be healthy unless I go to the gym and lift, 500-pound leg press, that's not true. That's not true. These are all examples of groups of people who don't go to the gym a ton. Some of them do have structured. I know that the Loma Limo, or whatever people, the
Mm-hmm.
Loma
Loma
Linda
Linda.
people do have some group exercising stuff, but most of it's just them just naturally, not driving. I mean, I will drive across the parking lot in our
Yeah.
big mall instead of just walking. I'll just go, you know what? Let's just drive over to the store.
But it's
That's
also hard because the cities in the United States are made like this. It's hard. They're not.
yeah,
Most of them are not walkable cities. So
truth.
I get the struggle. It's not easy to do it everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
So let
but at
me.
home you can do it at home. We do a lot of stuff at home,
Yeah.
like awakening. Sometimes you can just tap your body because your body, you
Yeah.
tap your body like this for like 10 minutes. You wake up. It's like the body is amazing how
I know
easy
it
it is to
is. It
do.
really is. I love this. I'm just going to check in with the comments here, because we got a lot coming in.
Yeah,
So our LinkedIn user, sorry, LinkedIn
link.
user is Dawn Leduc. I was mixing Leduc with user. Thank you, Dawn, for coming in today.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
man.
My friend Mike Goggin, who is living in Arizona right now, in the Phoenix area. So you guys are practically
How do
neighbors.
you do it? How do you live here?
Especially when sometimes my Arizona friends would tell me about how it gets so hot that the planes don't fly, because
Yeah,
so
literally,
I don't know.
literally.
Mike moved to Arizona from Chicago area, so I think probably the cold and bitter, maybe that
I
was why.
understand the
So
Chicago area. Although we do have this quarrel, me and my partner about, oh, but it's dry heat. Yes, it's dry heat, but at 5 a.m. it's still 120, and still the dog doesn't want to, leave the
yeah.
house.
Well, Mike used to tell me, I remember when he was getting ready to move, he would tell me that he and his wife went out to Phoenix, and they were looking at houses. I think, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like over 100 degrees,
Oh yeah,
and y'all went out on a hike. And I thought, what is wrong with you? But it's a dry heat.
it's
It's
a
a dry
dry heat.
heat, I
Yeah,
guess. Trisha Lewis says, a bit like that for me when I go beyond Watford. I don't know the context
England.
of that. England, yeah, yeah.
I believe it's England.
Trisha is in Bournemouth, England, in the
Bournemouth. I
UK.
love it. The
Yeah,
south,
yeah.
eh, on the beach, like me. I'm on the Adriatic Sea. So.
And then we have Stella joining us from Sweden. Hello, I just
Ooh.
joined. I had my latte, and I am aiming for Sardinia. Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Sardinia is such a beautiful place. I have a friend from Cagliari, which is the main city, and Sardinia is just beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous place. The
Yeah.
problem in and let me do a parenthesis on this. You know how a lot of people, they when they come to Italy, it's like, why don't a lot of people go explore other areas of Italy that are not Rome? Two things, because normally we don't have Wi-Fi or air conditioning. So,
Yeah, well, I've been to Italy one time. I had a little romantic adventure in Italy.
ooh,
Well before I met my awesome husband. But I was it was in
Milan.
Milan in February, and it was freezing rain and very cold. But then we took a drive about an hour to what I would call the west coast, so the western
Okay. Yep.
side. I can't remember even the town where we went, but it was warm. It was summer. It was right on the ocean and just beautiful with all of the beautiful pastel houses up on the cliffs,
You
and it
were
was just
probably in Liguria, in the region of Liguria, either
sounds
Genova.
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Geneva sounds very
Genova. There you
familiar.
go.
Yes.
There
This
you go.
was. Yeah. So awesome. All right. So, hey, if you wouldn't mind, I would love to talk a little bit about some of the things that are, why. So that we've got these five pockets of people around the world that have a
Yeah.
much higher than average longevity, and there've been a lot of studies done on them. Dan Buettner, his whole book is really about kind of looking at them, and there are some similarities, even though they all eat different types of foods
Yep.
in different parts of the world and do different things. There are some similarities. I want to just talk through a few of them, if you don't mind, because Dan Buettner has
Absolutely.
his top nine. So one of the big things is that they all eat mostly, and it's about 65 or 70%, according to what I was reading, plant based whole foods. So you were talking earlier. Is that something that
Plant-based
you've?
food. Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably not in Italy, because in Italy we do like our meats and our fishes. But in Italy, the plant-based food basically are vegetables, with a lot of vegetables that
yeah,
are from the ground up. The code in the United States is eat as much organic and grass-fed as you can. You're not gonna
yeah,
find probably, the vegetable quality that you find in other parts of the world, but you can still, in the United States,
yeah.
you can still do it with through organic and grass fed. And
I
normally, another thing we were talking about earlier, how our portions are very big. In those zones, you stop eating when you're 80% full. That's
Yep,
very important.
exactly.
You
Yeah.
get satiated, not bloated. That's
And
another
I would
point.
just say for anybody out there who's watching who is like rolling their eyes at, oh my God, I can't afford organic or grass fed. Here's the thing. If you're eating Cheetos and Twinkies for your evening meal, don't worry about the organic. Just eat a vegetable.
Yeah,
Just start there, and
true
then
that.
what you can work you can work right. And some are better than others as far as organic goes, but just
Listen, if
eat more vegetables.
example, in the United States, I don't eat pasta. I stopped because A, I get bloated, B, I get disappointed because it sucks. So if I were able to get off of pasta, you can do anything, trust me.
Luca, why is that? Because I have a friend who does not eat. She loves pasta, but she doesn't eat it in here. I don't know where she does eat it, but she just doesn't eat it because exactly what you said. It makes her feel bloated. She gets very gassy. What is the difference between the pasta?
The difference is that in here they wash the cornfields with bleach. So whether you're getting it organic or not, the pasta is toxic here, and
Yeah,
uh, and so it interacts with your body in whatever funny way they do.
I just don't eat it
So
a lot because it makes me fatter.
no,
So I
me
just
too. I mean, I eat it probably once a month, but now we got onto a regimen of almost. Then I go back home and I eat pasta like there's no tomorrow. Like, in fact, there's a lot of gluten intolerant people, and I tell them they go to Italy and have pasta like that,
I've heard
and I
this.
tell
I
them,
have heard this.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I tell people you're not intolerant to the gluten, you're intolerant to the crap that they put in the gluten. So
Yep. Okay, so eat more plant-based whole foods. Meat is eaten in all of these places, just not like in most of them, not like we eat it in the States. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, meat, meat,
no,
meat.
I mean, averagely meat in those places are like, I don't know, like less than 50%, in
Yeah, yeah,
but it depends. I love the meat in the US. I think it's very high
it
quality.
is good.
You can actually find very high quality meat
Yeah.
in the US. So I eat I eat a lot of chicken here and a lot of steaks.
Yeah,
Not so
but
much
we don't
fish.
eat a lot of fish. Yeah, we don't in my part of the world, we do, and if you're on the coast, of course, you eat more, but, growing up in the Midwest, my grandparents had a cattle farm, so we had beef, beef, beef. Occasionally, my mom would try to trick us with venison, which it's different, it's kinda gamey, and I didn't like it, but
Yeah,
we didn't really eat fish. I mean, fish sticks, the frozen stuff,
yeah.
that's pretty much all we ate growing up, so it's really
Fish
interesting.
is great for you for omega-3, iron, that kind of stuff, which are normally hard
It's
to
amazing,
get
yeah.
from other foods. Yeah. But I do
Yeah.
understand because I come from the Adriatic Sea. So to me, all Pacific or Atlantic, but Pacific, because I lived in San Diego. So Pacific Ocean seafood is tasteless to me, basically.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, because the my sea is, I don't know if you're familiar with the Adriatic, but it's very narrow. It's probably like 200 miles from one coast to another. So
Yeah.
it doesn't get, the biggest fish is that big. It's also very salty. We have a way
Huh.
of saying in my hometown, we say, if I don't see the eye, I don't trust that it's a fish. We have no concept or a fillet of fish. That's true.
That's
And so
hilarious.
growing up like that, it's kind of like, uh,
Yeah.
Cistella is saying something really good. What is
Yeah.
labeled organic beef in the US is considered regular beef here in Europe. It's changing though in Italy too. In the big cities, it's turning to be, packaged industrial stuff. In the small towns, you can still get by. You can still get your butcher. You can still get your. So
Well,
this
and
is for
and
the
I
food.
yeah, and
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would just caution anybody, the label of organic here in the United States,
Yeah.
you have to really do your research and just, what the studies say, but also organic foods does sometimes there are still using things to
Yeah,
so
here
you just have
here
to be
it's always a labyrinth and a roller coaster
yeah,
to
yeah.
eat healthy.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
it's a
definitely
really interesting
harder.
it is really interesting what Stella says because I have found so I went to Mexico a few years ago and just in the hotel they had a little gift shop where you can get snacks. And I remember I picked up a Kit Kat chocolate bar in Mexico and I thought, okay, I'm hungry, I'll just get a Kit
Yeah,
Kat. And it was the best fucking chocolate bar, commercial
right?
chocolate bar I've ever
Oh yeah.
had. And I thought, why is this different? And it's because the standard in the US is different. The standard of chocolate in the US has I want to, I'm probably going to say this wrong, but somehow that's the fat content or something. And of course, fat makes things taste better. But anyway, so there are differences. Different countries have different standards, and the US is notorious for having low standards for cheese.
70%, I think it's 70 or 80% of the FDA approved shit here is illegal in Europe.
Right. I know.
So
So
go figure.
so just, but start small. Okay, so I want to move on from food.
Yeah,
Okay, so one of the things that is also similar between these cultures is they have daily rituals to unwind and reduce stress. Like some of them will pray, some of them
yeah,
nap, right?
yeah.
So
Some of them
and so
like sit down and do nothing, or I don't know, you take a bath, whatever it is. Things that in America it's very hard, and
yeah,
I was even guilty of that because it's the society and it's the type of here you gotta do work, work, work. It's
go
kind
go
of
go
like
go go go.
when I was in Milan. When I went to Milan, the first thing I noticed that people are not walking; they're basically running at the sea. I'm like, what the fuck do you have to go? Like, why are you running so fast? Where do you have to go? So, and it's one thing that a lot of people are like, oh my Lord, Luca, you're energetic, but you're also calm at the same time. Yeah, because I take my time for, unwinding. Unwinding is a very, very important thing.
Yeah.
Do nothing for a whole day, mates, and don't feel guilty about it. Enjoy it, embrace it.
It is hard to do. My husband has said to me in the past, because my husband can come home from work, he will play with the dog a bit, but then he goes and he retires to the backyard or downstairs or out. And if it's raining underneath, we have a little carport, and he will have his just to have a little drink and maybe have a cigar
There you
and
go.
listen to his podcast for a couple hours and just unwind. And I have a hard time doing that. I'm always feeling like there's something else that needs to be done. And I think a lot of US Americans are that way, especially if we've had, if we're from cities and stuff, because it
Yeah.
is just feels like it's go, 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 go.
I
It's
always quote the hangover when people go, "Oh my God, I haven't completed this task." But did you die? No.
do
So
you want
the
to live to
life goes
100?
on, and you get better. I want to say sorry. I want to say hi to my friend John Eubank who tuned in, and I haven't seen him in a while. This is great, John. Thanks for being here. Love you, brother.
Absolutely. Well, let's check in with the comments here. So
Yeah.
Trisha Lewis says she had a big romantic adventure involving an Italian. I remember that. I believe that maybe we covered that on my podcast, Trisha, on this podcast. But I remember that. But that's for her anonymous memoirs. Maybe we didn't get into too much of it.
Right.
Anyway,
So
Stella
another
says,
thing about the blue
yeah,
zone that really resonates with me, and I think that Dan, the author, calls it wine at five.
yeah,
Wine at
yeah.
five.
So they all
Have
drink,
a glass of
every drink a
wine.
little, which is really interesting to me, Luca, because there are a lot of studies coming out now that alcohol, especially for younger people, even like the one glass a day, is not good. But what is notable about the fact that these blue zone areas drink a little bit of alcohol, is that it's just a little bit, but it's also
Yeah,
a
of
lot of
course.
it's homemade. A lot of it's
Yeah.
not commercial, Pabst Blue Ribbon beer or your,
Do you want to
you
hear a
know,
funny story? The
tell
minute I
me,
moved to California, I had a glass of California Chardonnay. I was hungover the next day.
you were
Like the
what?
hangover.
One
Because of the
glass.
amount of sulfites. See, in
Yeah,
America, we don't do this. Like, I don't do wine at five in America. We barely drink. Like,
yeah.
I don't drink anything because
I don't,
it's
but
heavy.
I have a little a reaction. I have like a genetic thing. It's called alcohol
Okay.
flush syndrome, and I'm almost positive that it comes from sulfates in
Listen, if I
it.
take you to Italy, we take this wine from a super old cantina where we buy like wines by the liter. We get 50 liters of white, and then we put it in bottles. We drink bottles of it every day.
Yeah,
No problem. The
yeah.
cleanest wine you'll ever have.
Yeah, I think it's so hard with food stuff because it's really hard to weigh in all of the factors, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we were talking earlier about the tomatoes and how why are, because my brother-in-law says the same thing, that tomatoes that you get in the grocery store are horrible. He
Oh,
won't
yeah.
even eat them. And you were telling me how much better they are in Italy and even better in Croatia. And that's, you said it's the soil. There's so many factors that we cannot account for when we talk about foods. So we just have to,
Soil, the climate, maybe even the hand of the farmer,
right? You never know. All right,
So,
and then what there are like four things, similarities that Dan Buettner talks about between the blue zones that all I think are all kind of related. It's prioritizing family, so you have got older people living at
yes.
home, investing
Yes.
in relationships, belonging to a faith, but I would argue that there's probably more is the community aspect and the purpose
Community,
aspect.
yes, community aspect, which is one of the hardest things to do in the US. Because, in Italy, I have, my family that, you help each other out. There's not anything that you do by yourself. You
Yeah,
you don't do things by yourself in your versus here. We talk about it even with me and other Italian guys who have lived in the US for a long time, and it's like, guys, we don't get together and we do
yeah,
cookouts here. They go, well, because it's not the same. So it's hard to do here. Where in Italy, literally, I have my friends that I grew up with in high school, and they all still hang out together. They rent a place for the summer that's like 2 minute walk from my parents' house. So we got that sense of community. That is important because it allows you to be present most of the time when you're in an area, by the beach with your friends and family, just hanging out. Like my friends' kids are never in front of a screen.
oh wow,
That is one of the things. Like, it's kind of hard though to do here. I understand because in the United States
yeah,
it's hard, and that's also the reason why after 20 years, like I'm ready to go back. Like we
yeah.
really realize that we're very happy being there. And here, what are we chasing? We're chasing what? The money for retirement? No, I don't
I
care. I
know
want to be
it's
happy
so
all day.
you're so dead on. Well, I think also too, and it's probably it happens everywhere, but I think in the United States because we're also such a big geographical place. I have a family. I have five living. My older brother's passed, but I have five living siblings. I've lost count of how many nieces and nephews and
Yeah.
cousins, and we're all very very close. But I live very far away from them. So, a day's drive, right? So it's not too far, but
Yeah.
I don't see them very often. And honestly, when I was looking into and remembering some of the Blue Zones stuff around community and having this natural, organic, social life that gets nurtured, right, just very naturally, it really made me think, why have I not been to my home state in a year and a half? So it really motivated me to say, this is important for me. This is probably what I've been missing. I've been feeling like this lack of purpose in my life. And I think
Yeah.
it's connection. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things that the Blue Zones do really, really, really
You,
well.
you just mentioned purpose, and that is another thing. You
Yeah.
gotta have a purpose yourself, which is
Yeah.
probably even hard to find. Because it took me a while to find my purpose too. There was a good 4 or 5 years before we finally set of moving to Italy and doing this. Where like, what am I gonna do? Like, what is my
Right.
purpose? Like, my
Yeah.
purpose feels like I want to sit on the beach in Mexico and do nothing. So it's kind of then it's hard to find because we're so bombarded by what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
We sort of have to follow a path. I mean, it was for me, like for me growing up, I didn't really have much choices. Got to go to high school, you got to go to college,
Yeah.
you have these 4 or 5 things. I'm like, wait a minute, but I want to be a rock star. No, you're never
You're
gonna
right.
make money off of that. Who cares about fucking money? I want to be a rock
I know.
star.
I love
I
it.
want to follow my dreams. We
Well, you
think
know
too
what?
much about money, and that's true. Money is important, but it shouldn't be the focus of your life. It shouldn't
Oh,
be what drives
sh-
choices.
shout it.
I shout it.
One of the things I love is I've been talking to. I had a guy on this show, Duncan Higgins, and I just talked to somebody the other day who's gonna be on in season 2 in 2026. Her name's Gina Buckle. Both are really young, in their 20s, and I love it that they are foregoing that safety net of corporate job, and
Yeah,
they're pursuing what they love. Yes, money is important, especially important when you don't have enough of it and you can't pay the bills,
yeah.
but you don't necessarily get happier after a certain level. And I think
No,
that's
and
really
the
important.
corporate era was like it was a
Don't get me
freaking
started.
joke.
Don't get
Yeah,
me
like,
started.
oh wait, be a slave for someone. Oh great, you're living a great life, you have the prestige. Fuck that. I'm dead when I'm 50 because my stress level is through the roof. I work my life all
Yeah.
life for someone else.
But
Just
that's the
do
lie.
good.
That's the lie that we get told, though.
Yeah.
And I lived it for 23 years, and I loved it for the first decade, but then the overwhelm and the burnout started happening. And
Yeah.
then I didn't know what to do. So I just dealt with it for another 13 years.
But now I feel like now we live in a great era in a sense that now you're basically free to do whatever the fuck you want because
Yeah.
in this era, basically,
Never too late.
yeah, never too late. Never too late. Like I moved to the United States because when I did my college, by the time I finished college, we had the euro. So Europe changed currency.
Yeah.
So the whole system crumbled before my eyes. And I studied economics and I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here because like I'm not gonna survive here. I mean, when you live from 18 to 23, think, my life is done. I'll get out of
Yeah.
college, I'll find a job, I'll be golden. Then I came here, I started waiting on tables. My grandma still thinks I do porn, but I'm like, no, grandma, I really make this much money waiting on tables, which was a blessing and a curse at the same time because it's easy for me to find a job in the restaurant industry and I still enjoy it. I didn't for a while. I took a break, well needed, but now I'm back to it and I enjoy it. Of course, my woman
Yeah.
would like me to be at home at all times, but we can't do that for a little while.
Love it. Well, listen, I wanted to jump to because we're getting a little bit to
Yep.
time here, and I have just one last question to ask you, but I do
Yep.
want to get to some of the comments here. Stella says she spent part of her childhood in the northern part of Sardinia and always wanted to go
Nice.
back. Um,
Do it. Go back. Sell everything you have and go back.
Yeah, John Eubank joining us as you mentioned earlier. Thank you, John, for coming on. Stella's, we already talked about her organic beef in the U.S. is just normal
Yeah,
beef in most places.
exactly.
Stella says most Americans feel overall better when visiting here because of the higher quality, less toxic plant-based foods in general. Tricia says, I really have to work hard on feeling at one with the do nothing thing too, Beth. Yeah, it is hard. And also some people who are neurospicy, neurodivergent too, that's even more hard. So, and you shouldn't feel guilty, but if, you shouldn't feel guilty about it either way. You shouldn't feel guilty if you're just a person who likes to be active, but you shouldn't feel guilty about taking some time. And it is important to
You
do
know, I
that.
feel guilty when I overworked because
Yeah.
then my body hurts, and I apologize to my body after I overwork. It's like, I'm sorry I did that to you. I shouldn't have done that.
I love it.
Guys, we have one life, one. We don't know what's
Yeah.
on the other side until we get
No.
there, and I want to get there as late as possible. I don't know about you, but
Yeah, same here. So Luca,
yeah.
we're doing your Blue Zones lifestyle coaching, which I love. What is next for you? You told me you're going to be making a big change. Not
Yes,
not
so
not
by
too far in
June
the future.
we're working on a plan that by June of next year, so before the next hot season here in Arizona comes back up again, we're gonna move to my hometown of Italy. Many reasons. It's a win-win for everybody. My mom is dealing with my 96-year-old grandma, centenarian, see,
Yeah.
who she's fine, she's absolutely lively and great, but she has a mild form of dementia, and mother and daughter, they can be together, especially at that age. So she kind of needs some help on that. We've been looking
Oh,
for a way out, in a sense. We were thinking about moving to Mexico. We love Puerto Vallarta, for example. We have a lot of friends there. We met there, but every time we went back, we were like, sure, this is great, but do we feel at home here? And for me, I've always felt at home in Italy. My wife Teresa, after 5 years of going, because at the beginning it was like, oh shit, this is beds are uncomfortable, it's hot as fuck, it's humid, I don't speak the language. Now we're at the point, okay, I want to move here. So
oh,
we're gonna do that, and maybe some other things come out of that. I'm thinking because the region where I live is so beautiful, it's still relatively inexpensive.
it's right on the
So
coast, right? It's
it's right
because
on
you
the
had a yeah,
coast.
yeah.
The town where I live it is on the coast, but in our region we also have the biggest mountain of central Italy. We have three national parks. We have three amazing lakes. You don't have to go to Lake Como. Thanks, George Clooney, for fucking up the real estate up there. Thank you so much. But we do have, you have everything within an hour drive. Plus,
That's
to be
amazing.
honest with you, I kind of want to get all of the secrets from my mom and grandma before, while they're still alive. So
So
it's,
important. So important.
yeah,
I just had a guest on Louisa Stewart a few weeks ago, and her mother is has dementia, and she said she's lost the memories now. So she actually has a thing where she's putting together that it's an online service where you can have people go and put their memories of a person,
yeah,
and then but so it's so important. I mean, I feel the same way. My mother is passed. My father died when I was very very young, and so I feel like there are very few people left that I can get that
yeah,
legacy from. So I think that's
right.
amazing. And
So
you're gonna do some cook.
well, my grandma probably has mild dementia due to the sugar. She was a big sugar lover. Unfortunately, sugar is not great for you. But she would
Mm-mm.
tell you that one of the secrets to her getting, to be this uh, longevity. Thank you. I was looking for the word. Is that she was one of the very first women in Italy to ever get a divorce, and she never got remarried again. So
Huh?
half jokingly, half not, she says the secret is to not get married.
Well, it's interesting because research will say that yet marriage is an advantage for men and women, especially as they age. It is an advantage to not be married.
Yeah. See,
So,
good to know. Good to know.
all right, so folks, we're going to be wrapping up here in just a few minutes. So, if anybody has any final thoughts, please throw them in the comments. We'll try to get to them. Luca, before we do wrap up, what do you want our listeners to know? What do you have coming up? What's the best way to get in touch with you? And of course, everything will go in the comments.
The best
So,
way to get in touch with me is LinkedIn. I'm one of the folks that use Facebook and Instagram as a private photo album, basically. So I don't really post a lot of
I love it.
business in there. Most in my travels, which they're not going to be that many this year since we have a plan on moving away. But on LinkedIn, I post a lot of stuff about the Blue Zone, tips and tricks. I can give you a couple before we go. And
Sure.
I host these speed networking events, which starts at 8 a.m. sharp Pacific time.
So
And
just
it's a
coming up
great
here in
way.
15 minutes if you're watching
Comes up
live.
in 15 minutes. I can put the link in the chat if you guys want, if any of you have time today. But it's basically a great way to meet a lot of people in a short amount of time. I do 4 breakout rooms. 3 of them are between 3 and 5 people. One is a one-on-one. And then at the end of the event, I send out everybody a spreadsheet with the names, industry, and LinkedIn profiles, so they can go and do their
I am looking
marketing.
forward to someday attending. Unfortunately, I'm usually going over a little bit with
I
my
know,
guests
because
there,
but
but
you have this amazing show, and don't ever get rid of this amazing show
thank you. I
because this
appreciate
is
that. I
great.
thought about it, but I want to talk about that in a second. Last comments here. John Eubank, always learning and appreciating what and how you say what you say and what you do. Continue to share. You are a true testimony in doing and sharing it, whatever the it might be. I agree, Luca.
Well,
More from you.
more,
And
more,
Stella
more.
says the chase for 7 figures for the small business owner, not interested. Good money, yes, but why 7 8 figures? I know, right?
Let
I
me let
mean,
me let me commend you on that. Now, the reason why I moved to the US was definitely opportunity, money.
yeah.
But uh, as an expat, when I first moved to the US, which was 2004, I was able to make 100 and save 80. Now,
Wow.
forget about the fact
No.
that I spend my 80 in all other stuff. I'm not the kind of guy who cares about money. To me, money is literally less than a value. If I have 100, I spend 100. I'm getting a little better at that, but I'm the kind of guy that really has no absolutely fucking value on money. And so now the life has become so that you make 100 and you spend 80. So if I have to do that, I rather make 50 and spend 20 in Italy and live a great life.
There you go.
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly. Yeah.
Luca, thank you so much for
Of
being my
course.
guest on the Thirsty
Oh,
Professional. I love your vibe. I love your
thank you.
persistence. You always bring every time I'm on a network call with you or I just see you out there, you bring a light into the world whenever
Love
you're
it.
in it. I'm so happy for you
See,
finding
this
this
is my
awesome.
purpose: making people laugh, bringing life into the world.
We'll do more.
Part of the
I'm so
brutal.
so
Oh,
happy.
let me give a final tip of one. So,
Yeah.
when you're inflamed, you know your knee hurts, your belly hurts. Instead of chugging down a Tylenol or something like that, rub some castor oil. Rub some
Okay.
castor oil on the inflamed part, whatever it is.
Interesting. I have castor oil, and I'd never thought of doing that.
Rub
I have
it.
a. Okay, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try
Try
it,
that.
Luca.
Life changing. Life
Awesome.
changing.
I will try that. All right, folks. We only have 2 more episodes for the season 1 of The Thirsty Professional, and then I'm going to be going on podcast holiday until January 2026. Yes, you heard me right. Next week I have Tracy Irwin, the time.
Downtime.
I know, right? See, I'm taking a tip from Luca and this Blue
There
Zone
you
speak.
go. Love it.
Next week I have Tracy Irwin joining us. She is the time freedom alchemist and author of 1-2-Free, the ultimate business blueprint to gaining more time freedom without losing your sanity. Boom. Hopefully that involves taking some time off. She is also a dog mom, which is always a bonus. The week afterwards, I have Joseph Cope. He is an empathy expert and coach, a keynote speaker, an amazing guy. Then I'm off for 3.5 months, season 1 ending. And what am I going to be doing? Lining up guests for season 2. Their spots are going fast. I got some amazing people lined up. Cannot wait. I'll be writing in October. I'm launching my first novel. It's called The RIP Files Case of the Demon Drums, a little paranormal modern fiction
Ooh.
work. So, yeah. November, National Novel Writing Month. I don't know what I'm going to work on, but something. And then, of course, I'll be taking time off and enjoying the holidays. But I will still be here on LinkedIn checking in and posting clips from some of our previous shows, including this one. So if you are out there watching on LinkedIn, please connect with both myself and with Luca if you're not already. And if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Any additional questions that we didn't get to, please leave them in the comments. We'll get to those as we can. And then congratulate yourself for getting real about your career, your purpose, and your passion. So now, Luca, Miss Hattie Arbuckle, my hat, and I are going to bid you a fond farewell. Take
Beth, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun and
awesome.
have a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, you too. All right, take
Please
care,
enjoy.
everybody. Yeah.
Ciao.
Fill your cup, let's have a chat about careers, life, and all of that.
Well, that was fun. All right.